Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. The major weakness with relying on being handsome. The major weakness, and the weakness is very simple. Every woman is not going to see you as handsome. See, one of the things is it's a powerful tool. Let's just be real, it's a powerful tool. If you have it, that's great and stuff. But let's just be honest. It's not objective. Now, let me talk about that, because you get some guys, well, it's objective, it's objective. Let's be real. Women won't agree with that. Objective means, see, here's the problem with that objective thing. Men are the ones saying that. Men are the ones be trying to argue it, even like some so-called psychologists and all of that, talking about some measurements and stuff. Women always say something different. Now, at best, a man can be handsome to a consensus of women. Like if you go into a room of 100 women, if 80 of them or even 90 think he's handsome, okay, that's consensus handsome, but it's not objective. The objective is a measurement. It's a science. Water boils at a certain point. Like even with a man's physicality, the only thing objective is his body weight, his percentage of body fat, and his height. You can measure it. Now here's the issue with that. You don't know what a particular woman like. You get some women, they like a bigger, stockier guy. And then some women, they like a slimmer guy. So even that still depends on the woman. It's not a measurement. They not breaking out a ruler. So it's subjective to each woman. It's based on her feelings, what she considers attractive and everything. And different factors can come into that. I'll constantly say that and stuff. So let's get that out of the way. Let's get that out of the way. And quite frankly, well, let me say one more thing. Quite frankly, if you look at that whole so-called objective thing, there's a racial tinge to it. Because, they'll say objectively, white men look better. Yeah, well, go in the middle of Africa, go in the middle of Asia, go in some places that are non-white and see if they agreeing. And even then, it's still subjective. So that's the reality. It's still subjective. So here's the thing. Let's get back to the original thing about this major weakness. If you're relying simply on being handsome, saying, well, I just need to be handsome. Okay, first of all, you limit the pool of women you can get with. You limit it. It's strictly limited to the women who think you're handsome. Okay, and let's not get into like the game and all of that stuff. You strictly limit it to that. What happens when you run into a woman you think is attractive, but she don't think you're handsome? What are you going to do then? What other tools do you have to get her? Now, some dudes will say, well, the women just want a man if he's handsome. No. What did I say in the last one? I actually talked to women. I've personally known several women who will get with a guy and they will be like, nah, he don't look like all of that. I personally gotten with women who never complimented me on my looks. And probably saying, if I did, it'd be like, oh, we think quite a few of them, in fact, they were like, he all right, and stuff. And especially from some women once I broke up with them. But you'd be like, well, I didn't rely on the looks. You gotta have more to get it. And see, that's the major issue. If you don't get them on that, then what? Then what? What happens when you run into that woman? She ain't concerned about your looks. Because remember, what did I say? Despite what some dudes think, women want to be the beautiful one in a relationship. They want to be the pretty one. In fact, that's a feminine thing to want to be the pretty one. If a man wants to be, okay, let me turn it around. You get some guys talking about, the man should look better and the man would be better, fighting for it. Ask yourself this. Unless your ass would be considered a 9, very attracted by a woman. Let's just be real. Most men are in the 4 to 6 range. Say you're a 4. You want a 2? Or as a 4, do you want at least a 6? Think about it. So give them that. Give the women that. Say there's no problem. So you got women like that. They looking at other stuff that you bring into the table and stuff. They might be looking at your physicality. Even then, I'm gonna tell you what, I've met a lot of women, even though I've said several times that, you want to get that woman with the tight body who's working out. You got a tight body too. You got a better chance. Hey, I've met some women got tight bodies. You see their men, and the men are like, And I tried to rationalize it. I was like, but you know what? No, because they looking better. As long as the dude's decent. I mean, some tight bodies. And the dude would be maybe, seriously, like several times, like young women too. It was like, yeah, the body's like, they ain't totally sloppy, but they ain't tight like hers and stuff. They might be cool with it. But in all those situations, the man had to bring something else. Like, contrary to popular belief, women are turned on by a man's personality, particularly if he has A, charisma, B, he's just masculine. He's just masculine. People, see, that's not talked about enough. They want a man who's going to be a man. You got some man, he might be rough looking, but he can charm the woman, he can talk to him, and also he got a violent side. He will lay out a body. He don't have any problem, and then he ain't putting up with no bullshit from her. He's no nonsense. She tried messing with him. She's actually turned on because he's like, I don't care. You gonna respect me. He'll put her in her place and something. He's doing something with his behavior or something like that and stuff. And they still get it. Like I said, I've experienced it personally. I've known several men who said, the women like, he ain't all that. I've heard the women say that, but then they always talk about what else he was bringing to the table, I mean, it could still be some physicality. It could still be like, y'all know, well, you know what, he tall. Like some dudes be talking about the height. Sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes, he muscular or something like that, Indeed, that's why women will separate. They'll say, well, hot and handsome. That's why I say body game, especially if you're average looking, at least get your body right. But even then, you can't just rely on it. You got to have other stuff. You got to develop the rest of you. Because you got some guys thinking, oh, it's just looks. I can tell they've never had a girlfriend. Any man who's dealt with a woman knows, okay, yeah, you can attract them. You still got to deal with them. In fact, I've said before, you deal with a woman, you dealing with 4 women because their personalities change. Any man who's dealt with a woman for at least a month can tell you, oh, wait, yeah, she was sweet when I met her this day, but, she was sweet, cool, but then when she's ovulating or something, she gets extra horny. And, you might be just trying to chill, watch the game or something, and she walking in front of you with a lingerie on or something, and she's like, turn that TV off or something. She real horny. But then the next week, she on a period, you might want to sleep in separate beds or something. And then their emotions shoot just by their nature. So you dealing with several women. Anybody who's dealt with that knows, okay, great, you look handsome. That don't get you through it. There might be some occasion where you have to just dominate her, like grab her and throw on the couch or throw on the mattress in the living room. Then some other occasions you might have to be quiet and just be like, okay, you sit over there and stuff. She might be that type of woman. She don't care what you look like, but if you that type of man who takes charge and leads her, she's responding to that. So it's so many different things. So the thing is, like I said, if you relying on just being handsome, that's why you're gonna have some trouble. You limit it. And there's something else with that. Say you rely on being handsome, and that's your game, and it works. Okay, can you maintain that? Think about it. No one, very rare someone is going to look the same from like a teenager until they get older. And contrary to popular belief, older men and older women still getting down sexually. They still getting down, still want relationships and everything. You know, my 82-year-old father has like 3 women. So they still doing it. And you know what? The hair's gone up there. He ain't working out like he used to, and still got 3 women. But he got other stuff going on for him. And the other 3 women actually is younger than me. So I'm 57. I got a potential stepmom who's like 40, in her 40s. So, I mean, but he had other stuff going for him. And it wasn't money either. He's cheap. Anyway, you can't rely on it because, let's put it like this. Let me go into that real quick, because looks matter the most, actually, when you're young. And that's cool. That's how it is. When a woman's in her teens and early 20s, it matters the most. And they'll get with a guy just doing, especially starting in high school. Let's just be real with it. Let's be real. But then as they get older, other stuff comes into it. That's why you will get a lot of women once they get past a certain age, as a group. Some of them are young, but as a group, once they get past a certain age, you know, you gotta have a bit more. You know, it ain't say, yeah, you don't have to be super handsome. Just, you know, if you keep yourself up, just basic, yeah. But then they looking at other stuff. You know, what else you got going on for you? You know, what kind of person are you? You know, they looking for other stuff. So that's just the thing. So if you rely on just being handsome, that's, you, first of all, you had to be extraordinarily handsome to still get attention. But then what happens when you have to maintain that for the rest of your life? You know, what happens when, you know, even with body gain, what happens, you start putting on some weight, which is inevitable, one way or the other. What happens? What happens when that woman, oh yeah, she think you handsome, but you know what, she thinking more in terms of, okay, I'm getting older, biological clock ticking, who I'm gonna hang out with, you know? Where, you know, who's going to be supportive in business, or who's going to be able to be into that point where if I'm staying home, who's going to take care of it, you know? And then what happens if they say, no, I need that man who's going to be a man? See, you can't just rely on it, you know? Because like I said, the major weakness, though, getting back to bringing it back around, is what if a woman simply don't see you as handsome? Then how you going to get her? And yes, you can get a woman without it. Anybody, and you can even call it game. You can call it game, but it's just, what if the personalities just click? Let's go back to that video I did on Tuesday. Sometimes she just like you and stuff. You got some characteristics about you that she simply like, and they don't have anything to do with your looks and stuff. So that's the thing. So let me be clear. I ain't saying don't be handsome. If you'll always fix up as best as possible. And if you blessed with, you know, if you blessed and just with a real handsome facial features, you're blessed. Use it. Bring something else to it. That's all I'm saying. Bring something else, because you can't rely on it. Shit changes. Your looks are going to change as you get older. She might not be pressed about it. I've said it several times in the last, like in that video I did a couple of days ago, I said it. It was like, I've dealt with some women, they weren't feeling. They were like average, but they liked other parts. You want to develop yourself to the best extent. Other stuff, you can't rely on it. You know, what happens if something happens and there's an accident and your face gets marred? Then what? You want to just stop? So I want y'all to think about all of that, all right? And get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.